Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your man, the Black Patriot. I appreciate you stopping by. As promised, we're going to give you policy. We're going to give you the insights on policy, etc. Before we get started, one big shout out to the Red Elephant. If you don't have your mug yet, make sure you go get one, rdelephant.com. It's a cute, nice little nice little coffee mug for you. This is rdelephant.com. What this is going to be a conservative website, and there is a nominal fee for signing up. But what I will tell you is 20% of the proceeds go to the Wounded Warrior Project. So those of us patriots, veterans that are listening are very patriotic towards our veterans and will do anything for them, this is the place to be. Red Elephant, rdelephant.com is the website. And when you sign up, not only will you be helping veterans, but they will also send you this coffee mug. This coffee mug is pretty bomb. I mean, I've been drinking out of it most of the day. You know, it's been like on my hip all day long. So make sure you go over and do that. Sign up for rdelephant.com. Another thing is I had the opportunity to meet the CEO on Saturday for rdelephant.com. Real nice guy, and he's hands-on, and you know he's what a conservative should be in this movement. You know, he's trying to be a leader in this movement and try to restore the grassroots back into conservatism, into republicanism. So give my man a look up, rdelephant.com, sign up, donate, and your sign up will be donated to the Wounded Warrior Project, and you get to meet fellow conservatives on the website also. So please check that out. Do me a favor and do that. So what we're going to talk about today, we want to talk about this last one of the last bills Congress has passed since the end of the week, the HR 2, the Farm Bill as we know it as, right? That $867 billion monstrosity of a bill. Okay. I called it a venture-socialism, and it basically it's what it is, and I've broken it down so you can get an understanding of what we're looking at when it comes to this. Okay, the basic general breakdown is that 80% of that 867 billion goes towards food stamps, and the other 20% goes actually to the farm industry, and I'll explain how that happens because I have about 5 pain points with this farm bill. Okay. And if you want to look up the information, I have it down here in the video notes and the show notes below. So you can look at the bills. The conference report is also there, and how your senator voted for this bill is also in the link below. So just make sure you check that stuff up as we're talking about it and reading through this. So I have 5 pain points with this bill. One of them being the endless welfare without enough work requirements. I mean, that in itself is a huge problem, right? And I say that because a few states have passed work requirements for Medicaid and things like that. And it seems like the Republicans got weak on this, right? So let's lay out a baseline, right? The role, okay, of the federal government itself, okay, is to control immigration, right? Enforce our immigration policies, you know, for the sake of the general welfare of the public, not agricultural production, okay? Agricultural production is a private sector thing. The government should not be messing with that, right? If you know what agrarianism is, okay, that's one of the things on the Republican Party platform. I don't care what part of the country you're in, that should be part of your platform. But with the government dipping into this, creates problems, right? Now, this bill actually passed 87-13, okay, which is very shocking considering the cost of this bill, okay. and how much it's going to cost the taxpayer. And these are Republicans that are passing this. We have control of all three branches, and we're passing something like this. But we're supposed to be limited government and limited spending, but we're just tossing the money out there, right? This bill, it's going to continue to bankrupt our country, okay? It completely discombobulates the agriculture and land use markets, and it creates a monopoly for wealthy interests and nationalizes our agriculture. It puts it under the federal umbrella, right? Bills, these type of farm bills, especially the one from 2014, they're always horrible because of the intent of them, right? And here we go. The Republicans pull a wait, hold my beer moment. Now, it's not funny because, I mean, almost $1 trillion for the farm industry, and out of it, only 20% of it's going towards that. I have a severe issue with that. Okay. Now, like I said, one of my 5 hangups of this farm bill is the endless welfare. Okay. Now, the House version of this, of the work requirements was weak at best. Okay. And it actually created another government entity, which would cost as much as the bill would actually save, which is it blows my mind to see this and read. When I read the bill, I was like, are you guys kidding me right now? Are you really kidding me? Now, the House Republicans, on the other hand, totally caved in the conference committee when it come to this, and they basically locked in Obama level SNAP spending. Okay, and those of you that don't know these numbers, let me drop a dime on you. $70 billion a year in SNAP spending. 70 billion. You heard that right, not million, billion. Without any reforms or any requirements to get this stuff. Now, if you recall, right, President Trump promised in his budget to reduce the cost of SNAP spending and benefits thereof by 34%, which is about, 130 billion, by moving the program itself from a cash value system to a food package, right? You remember when that all came up and everybody's like, well, you can't tell us what to do and how we're going to buy our food with the food stamps, our food in the box, and he called that the harvest box. But if we remember, and I'm not going to go down this road too much, right? But if you remember when TANF started and SNAP really went into full swing, food came in a box. Okay. I know people when I was growing up, they got the food in the box. The cheese came in the box. The eggs came to the box. Powdered milk came in the box. So I don't know what they were talking about. But anyway, I'm going to digress from that, right? Now, the House Republicans themselves also proposed more work requirements and limits in certain categories of households from eligibility. But what happened? They didn't fight for those provisions at all. They didn't fight. I don't understand if you're trying to limit the amount of people that are getting on the dole and you want to lay all this sweet stuff out, but you don't want to enforce or get those provisions that you asked for. All acting like rhinos, if you ask me personally. But I'm going to continue on. My next point with this, the other hang up with this farm bill, is it makes crop insurance like not even work. Like it doesn't even work. Like Obamacare was broken, or I should say what's left of Obamacare now. And I'll reference back to the Farm Bill of 2014, right? The Farm Bill of 2014 created two new market inflating price fixing regimes, right? To cover the weak losses in the agriculture business, right? It created a price loss coverage, a PLC as it's called, and the agriculture risk coverage, an ARC, okay? In addition to the premium subsidies doled out to the insurance company so they can continue raising their premiums, these $48 billion programs allow farmers to be subsidized for revenue loss directly. So it is like going right to the bank, drawing the money out and walking away, right? That farm bill, just like this one, is like the Obamacare of agriculture, if you really want to put it in layman's terms. Okay? Because it also, with that, right, this bill, it also price fixes, okay, on the crops, and it inflates the cost, and it expands the concept of insurance to non-catastrophic and cynical revenue. The cynical revenue actually declines, okay, at this point. Now, the president obviously made another promise, right, to lower the eligibility cap from 900,000 in income to about 1.8 million or so, 1.9 million, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, for married folks, to 500,000. But as we know, again, he didn't keep his promise on this one. What's even worse is the bill increases the floor of the price targets so that now it takes even a lower price drop to trigger the subsidy program, and farmers can jump back and forth between the two programs from year to year to maximize their profits. So they can dip into the PLC, jump out, dip into the ARC, and make all this money. Okay? Because now that you get things at a lower price, okay, it triggers a subsidy program, and the farmers can, like I said, they can jump back and forth. Okay. Now, if the government didn't get involved in the first place in this, then the private sector would take care of the insurance portion. Okay. Just like car and homeowners insurance. Do you want the government regulating all that for us? I mean, that's just something to think about. Okay. But yet we allow the government to grab loose on something that we should have complete control of. My third hang up, okay, with this farm bill is the actual crop insurance itself for non-farmers. Yeah, this is a farm bill, okay, but the crop insurance, the crop insurance within the farm bill is covering them too. Now, this bill also allows all kinds of crazy family members, your first cousin twice removed by marriage 3 times, and all these other family members of farmers to receive up to $120,000 in annual farm subsidies, even if they're not farmers themselves. I'm gonna let that sink in a second. Let that sink in. You're a non-farmer, but you getting paid because you're related to a farmer? It's beginning to not sound like it's for farmers, is it? It sounds like a redistribution of wealth, doesn't it? Right? The end game of socialism is the redistribution of wealth, right? Is that what that's beginning to sound like a little bit? I mean, even Chuck Grassley, okay, lives, in the heartland, okay, Iowa. He's from Iowa, right? Strongly opposed this because he knew what this was going to do. In short, okay, it basically allows the large corporate firms to get even more subsidies at a time when the top 10% of farms are already receiving 68% of the subsidies of this farm bill, the 2014 one and this one. Okay. It also allows a corporate manager in the DC office to give legal advice to farm conglomerates, okay, and collect the same subsidies. It also allows corporate farms also owned by those earning more than $1.8 million a year as a married couple to funnel subsidies through their other associates and relatives. Tell me that's not a problem. It's for me, it's a huge problem. I don't know about you, but again, this is going back to the socialism aspect, right? Redistribution of wealth on our dime, on our dime. We're just going to give our money and then let somebody else collect this money. My fourth hang up with this bill is paying the landowners to buy and monopolize and not even farm. A land grab kind of deal, right? Now, President Trump, I remember he promised to cut $14 billion from this crap of a conservation program that paid wealthy corporations to buy up land in order to keep it dormant. Okay, the bill also expands the number of acres under the program rather than cutting it altogether. Again, this also enriches the wealthy landowners in this and further inflates the cost of land, just like any subsidized asset bubble. Okay, just like think about the housing bubble. Okay, think about the medical insurance bubble. Okay. Same concept. Now, ironically, this bill expands the very subsidy and crop insurance programs that encourage overutilization of land for government-driven farming, yet they have the temerity to talk about conservation. I need a drink after that one. This is kind of how upset I am about this. Now, in general, okay, the market distortions have caused many farmers to rent land from landowners who become the biggest recipients of these bills. What's wrong with this? Your farmers have their land. They have to end up turning around selling their land and then rent it from the landowners so they can make a living. What is wrong with this? But this farm bill is supposed to save the farmer, the small business farmer, right? Thanks to the government, for choosing what crops, okay, to subsidize. What happens when the government, what happens when government picks winners and losers? Think about that a minute, okay? When the government starts picking who wins, who loses, etc., okay? Now, in 2017, the Congressional Research Service, okay, reportedly noted that 94% of the farm subsidies under Title I of the bill goes to just 6 commodities, with 46% of that going to corn. Okay, remember, corn is, if you remember from the Farm Bill of 2014 and the Farm Bill before that one, corn is already benefiting from the greatest subsidy at all, right? Ethanol. Okay. The ethanol mandate. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and take a look at that. Look that up so you'll understand what the ethanol mandate is. It also requires all fuel producers to blend, it requires all fuel producers to blend ethanol into our gasoline supply. Okay. Furthermore, the Congressional Research Service notes that those 6 commodities, despite receiving 94% of the subsidies, only account for 27% of the output value of all farming. Now, this revelation, in its estimation, merits further inspection of how the program functions across program crops. Okay. Now, according to the USDA, 54% of all cropland is rented, not owned. Okay. It is most pronounced in the crops that receive the most subsidies. Thus, this is not even a farmer subsidy bill. It's a landowner subsidy bill. Think about that a second. It's quite disturbing when you look at it. As you sit here, you're listening and you're reading the documents, and you go back and read the documents again. You're even sitting here saying the Senate Republicans are becoming venture socialist. There's no way around that at all. There's not a way around that at all. Okay. My last hang up before I go with this farm bill is the parochial handouts, the random handouts, right? This bill increases direct subsidies for dairy farmers and even offers cash rebates for those who participated in an expiring program. Now, the Democrat Minnesota rep, Colin Peterson is his name. He explained the handouts for dairy farms, okay, saying under what we have put in the bill, you will not be able to lose money unless you really try. So what else does that tell you? Just you can do half effort, okay? Half effort and nah. Okay? Now, if you're looking through the documents as I'm talking, okay, if you go to the conference report that I have listed below in the box there, okay, section, I think it's section 120, it amends the original bill to force us, the taxpayer, to subsidize the development of private insurance plans, even when the costs are deemed unreasonable, so long as those are the actual documented costs incurred by the applicant, right? And I think, if I remember correctly, it's like 750 something. I think it's like 750 or 751. I can't remember off the top of my head. But read that, okay? I urge you to read it, to understand it, okay? Now, what that basically means is a private company can blow millions of dollars on research and development for, let's say, a fertilizing shovel. You shovel in the ground and it fertilizes the ground automatically, magically, and then charge all of us because they incurred the cost. Tell me that's not a little bit screwed up. Okay. Now, after they find another way to subsidize, monopolize, manipulate every commodity under the sun. If you still looking at the conference report right now, if you go to section 12, I got it on a note here. Where's my notes? Okay, if you go to section 12.613, right, it creates a report for the establishment of a natural stone research and promotion board that will study whether to add stone to the list of agriculture commodities promoted by government. So you want to add stone to agriculture? I guess there's just another way to get money from the people. Okay. Now, keep in mind the timing of this bill comes after the slight lift of the tariffs that is killing soybean farmers right now. Okay. Thereby engendering a separate $12 billion special subsidy in addition to premium support, shallow loss, and disaster relief subsidies. Okay, so now what are we doing? We're over subsidizing, over encouraging land use to overproduce, then screw them on tariffs? Really? By now, you're probably upset. You're probably really upset as you're going through this. Okay. I see it. It's never, this socialist agenda is not going to end. Okay. So we screw these folks, these soybean farmers, over on tariffs, but then we subsidize them. Why even have the tariffs in the first place? If that's the case, why even have the tariffs for us to lose money and then pull money from us, the taxpayer? Okay, to pay the subsidy. I mean, that's a little backwards if you ask me. But I guess this kind of goes back to what Reagan said, right? If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. That's basically what is happening right here. Now, I read something from the American Enterprise Institute, okay, and they're basically saying 50% of the farms in the lower 70% of the crop sales, okay, crop sales distribution, I should say, receive no subsidy or program payments. Yet, every single Senate Democrat, without exception, voted for this BS that subsidized wealthy corporations. They love taxing the rich, but they also love subsidizing the rich even more. Just pay attention. They hate the hard-earned income when it causes inequality, but they love to subsidize inequality. They despise income inequality when it's earned fair and square too, but they have no problem at all with subsidy inequality when it's a handout. It distorts markets, or it contributes to endless debt, and most likely it is unconstitutional. I mean, we have to go back and look at the 16th Amendment on how the government can levy taxes, etc. I mean, it could fall under that. I would have to do a little bit more research, as I am now, into that to see if it even is possible at this point. Okay. But even worse, like all market distorting subsidies, okay, in all the other industries, this creates a monopoly, okay, for the big players, right? To the upstart competitors. All right. The more government subsidizes specific crops and picks winners and losers, the more government distorts the land use market and the bids up the price for land. Okay. This in the end hurts the little people, the smaller farmers that just say, I'm just a carrot farmer on 3 acres, right? It hurts these guys. These guys that probably have been generational farmers like all their life, right? Their whole family has been farmers from late 1800s. This hurts these people. Okay. Because suppose they just farm just enough to get by for the year and feed their families. This hurts them. Now, if that doesn't make you upset, I don't know what does. All right. It's, but see, it's just like the government, the government created this monopoly, in healthcare, okay, through its corporate subsidies, okay, which is probably no longer now because Obamacare, again, has been declared unconstitutional. So you can kind of see how this is lining up, right? These farm bills throughout the way have led to the destruction of private farms in favor of the big, huge corporate like ConAgra, right? Companies like that. Okay. Now, just like I said, they created a monopoly in healthcare. Okay. And corporations destroying the private practice. This is exactly why Chuck Grassley voted against this bill. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this is the obviously winning narrative for the Republicans. Okay. Because these same 13 Republicans that dissented against this bill voted for the same Venture-Socialism, aka Obamacare. So what's different between when Obamacare passed and this farm bill? What's the difference? It's the same exact thing. We need to start paying attention to these policies in these bills. Okay? So we can hold these people accountable. Because if we don't, stuff like this will continue every day. And so before I sign off on this, I just want to put the message out there, right? Coming into January 1, forget owning people on Twitter, okay? Forget that part, okay? Forget owning people on Twitter. Forget owning people on Facebook, okay? We need to get our heads wrapped around these policies. We need to get get an understanding on the policies our senators are voting for, and we need to hold these people accountable, because if we don't, we're going to keep getting bills like this and bills like Obamacare and things like that being passed right in front of our eyes. And we think it's A-okay, and it's not A-okay when you deep dive and you pay attention to the issue itself. Again, I am the Black Patriot. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave me comments. If you have any questions about this, make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the little bell to go ahead and get the notifications when I post a new video. And until next time, in His grace and in liberty, God bless you and be great.